Excuse me. I have allergies this morning, folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. I've already had my pseudo rant this morning about what's going on in Israel and the complete special level of done that I am by people who are pounding their chests thinking they have the moral high ground, particularly those who are commenting from their safe seats out here in one of the Western countries. I already had that rant. We're going to let it go. Eventually, I may find my courage to be able to reveal some not so great truths, but truth nonetheless. But it's probably not going to be today. All right, we're starting a new article, and we're going into it because I want you to know, although the JRC is the most extreme case, ABA has left generation after generation after generation of disabled kids with multiple baggage of trauma and continues to do so while neurotypical society demands that we learn how to mask for their comfort. All right. In the description box, folks, if you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links to those situations. I want you to take special note in regards to the article that was written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The JRC felt so threatened by this particular article, they threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused. So, folks, if you can, please read that article and share it on all your social media. We also have linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, and we have a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC actually sees through with their threats. Trigger warning, when we talk about places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young ones present, please use your headphones. Another trigger warning. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and we speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, folks, parental supervision is advised, all right? Okay, so we're starting in on a new article, obviously, whose link you'll find in the description box. And we're going after ABA. ABA and the Relics of the Past. This was written back in 2021. The ABA autism program offered at CapU attracts students nationally, but autistic advocates question whether the controversial treatment with a $75 million price tag should be left in the past. Now, I want you to pay attention to that dollar amount because unscrupulous folks have been making millions of dollars off of disabled backs and the backs of people with mental health issues for time immemorial, folks. Take in particular, since it's something that we literally have to force into the headlines for either disabled people or the people trapped in the special level hell that is the troubled teen industry, because it's a multi-million-dollar industry. Okay? Money talks, Money corrupts. And those it corrupts do not care about the pain and suffering of others. That's why if you are we'll say Jane Doe, and you don't have a political machine behind you and multi-million dollars, why you have to go after the mainstream in order to get more people behind you? Because when you don't have the money machine behind you, you better have the masses behind you if you want any change to happen. I am not ashamed to say that we use shame and guilt. We use exposure to the international world of the crimes being committed against disabled people and people with mental health issues and people trapped in the troubled teen industry every day. Because that is the best weapon that we have, folks. And it's been, as slow as it is, the only weapon that has worked. But let's dive into this, shall we? In the late 1950s, a brother and sister scaled the endless fields of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Of all the fascinating artifacts these kids discovered in the lush Atlantic seascape, the most terrifying is a terracotta brick beast that towered over the mouth of the Eastern Passage. Careful, or else they'll lock you up in there, and crazy people will get you, their parents. By the time the brother, John Putland, turns 18, he'll be inside that building, terrified, undergoing electric shock therapy until he's bathed in bruises from the constant seizures. It's me, he'll cry to his sister, obscured by dark humor we lean on to survive. I was the crazy one all along. Depending on when and where you cast your net in history, unusual behavior could have been the mark of a shaman, a symptom of demonic possession only curable by execution. Atypical is a complicated word, more often marred by societal expectations than by individuals themselves. In particular, what we have all collectively both had extremely dark humor on and talk about quite a bit is the changeling narrative from the Middle Ages. If you're unfamiliar, the changeling narrative is this bizarre idea that someone comes and steals your real child and replaces them with a changeling creature that can morph into the physical appearance of your child but with none of your child's traits. If this narrative sounds familiar to you, that is because it is the same language used by anti vaxxers when it comes to their autistic kids. It is the language used that has set off the websites of millions of snake oil salesmen across the world as we know it. Okay? The half-century of psychiatric care has been defined by rapid, unprecedented transformation. Putland received the electric shock therapy in a hospital opened by Dorothea Dix, the mother of the mental asylum. Less than a year after his violent electric shock treatments, the U.S. Drug Administration approved lithium, one of the most studied and prescribed anti-manic drugs in the world. If that sounds familiar, that's because it is. That is the drug that was forced on Britney Spears to make her more compliant inside her conservatorship. Lithium has extreme side effects, particularly to your liver. Having tried it at one point in my life, it gives you a feeling of being absolutely blitzed off your face drunk. Okay? Which is why I'm not on it anymore. Because I talk to my doctors, but that's its own subject. One of the most widely studied and prescribed anti-manic drugs in the world, asylums were the perfect labs of controversial treatment insulin shock, ice baths, and lobotomies, once heralded as radical advancement. Pay attention to this, to those idiots who want to sit there and say, but the professionals are always right. This is why the appeal to authority always fails, folks. Because we approved of and considered advanced some very bizarre psychotic shit. Okay? Pay attention. Now they are symptoms for abuse and imprisonment. Inside one such asylum, Dr. Ivar Lovelace tested a new treatment approach for autism. Now, I want to make you understand where he pioneered this great idea. His inspiration was Pavlov. What? Why is that name familiar? Because Pavlov pioneered a particular program in training dogs, one that since then has been long ago decried as cruel and inhumane by animal rights advocates, and rightly so. But the therapy that was inspired from the Pavlov experiments, ABA, is still touted as the gold standard. Think on that. Think real long and hard on that. Today, ABA is a massive industry. It's considered the first line therapy for autism, overseen by Behavioral Analyst Certification Board, the BACB. The thousands of children with autism in BC deserve access to applied behavioral analysis, the single most research supported treatment, says Richard Stock in an interview with North Shore News. Stock is an ABA autistic program instructor at the Capilano University, CapU, a unique program in Western Canada that provides the direct pathway to the writing of the BACB certification exam. CapU is also the only institution in Western Canada that offers a bachelor's degree and post-baccalaureate certification in ABA. According to the BC Autism Support Network, behavior analysis is the science of behavior. ABA is the process of systematically applying interventions based on the principles of learning theory to improve socially significant behaviors to a meaningful degree and to demonstrate the interventions employed are responsible for the improvement in behavior. CapU ABA Autism Coordinator Miriam Effect's description of ABA is cooperative to this. ABA is about finding strategies to correct problematic and disruptive behavior. Although we're trying to help people achieve better quality of life, yet it still feels like something's missing. There's no reference to the internal emotions or the well being of the people ABA is designed for. We're going to stop here, but allow me to pontificate for you. It's because the people from the medical model and ABA do not give a shit that ABA doesn't actually change anything for us. They do not care that all we learn is how to mask and pretend to be someone that we're not every second of every day of our goddamn lives in order to make the neurotypicals feel more comfortable. Okay? What ABA actually is conditioning. And it's not simply, well, it makes them ask less like barbarians. By the way, fuck you very much, Bill Shatner. Because you don't know a damn thing what it's like to be us. Or what it's like to force to be tinned every day of our lives that we are something that we are not. Let's start with where we're coming from here, folks. What do I mean pretending to be somebody that I'm not? Don't I want to be more accepted in society? Don't I want that love, acceptance, friends to be able to be out there living in the world? The outside world pounds its chest about becoming more inclusive and diversive, except when it comes to us. Everybody else's differences, even the differences that seem unpleasant, are automatically accepted and encouraged. But if you are a disabled person, in particular, if you are a neurodivergent person, then even the traits that literally harm no one, stimming, for example, is not allowed, considered harmful, and ABA literally tries to brainwash us out of it, not because it causes us any harm, not because it affects in any way our ability to move around in society, but because they think it's weird. If you think all they are addressing is those God-forsaking meltdown videos that Autism Mommy TM likes to promote every April in order to get money off their kids' backs, if you think that's exactly all the ABA is doing, you're blind. Okay? At its base, ABA essentially teaches people like me that who we are as people, how we are born, who we are at the core of ourselves, our atypical brain cells, that not only are we not good enough, but that we do not deserve any kind of love, acceptance, human right to be treated as a person with human rights and human dignity unless by means of ABA we pretend to be someone that we're not. If you don't see the gaping psychological issue here, allow me to elaborate for you. When you are systematically taught that who you really are, how you were born, how you communicate, how you see the world is flawed and must be brainwashed out of you. Even the things that do not in any way, shape, or form harm you or anyone else around you. How your brain thinks and sees the world must be changed to suit the neurotypical society. And that until that happens, you do not deserve affection from your parents or siblings, acceptance, friends, unless you follow ABA protocol and you pretend to be something that you're not every second, every day of your life. There's a psychological toll, folks. And even though, thankfully, I was diagnosed late in my life, so I didn't get to experience the next level hell that is ABA, I have talked with many who have. And though I was wrongly diagnosed in the second grade with ADD, I still know, at least on a public school type of frame, what it's like to be treated like that if I didn't change every little thing about myself, I didn't deserve friends, to a point that a teacher literally grabbed hold of my mother and forced her to take me to a psychologist. I was in second grade. Second grade. And instead of addressing the horrific bullying that I was going through every day and dealing with the bullies, according to that teacher, because of ABA in the culture, I must have been the thing that was wrong. My mom took me one time. One. When you have a psychologist that's on your side, folks, by the way, that is a rarity. You have found a unicorn. Well, my mom found me a unicorn. And by the time that psychologist was done interviewing me, he had some choice with regard to those teachers who refused to deal with the never ending cycle of bullying that kept getting worse every year, as opposed to me, like, she's different, but she's fine. She's not friends with these people because they bully her, insult her, and call her names. Gotta love when a psychologist applies logic, right? All right, that's just an example, but I wanted to give you that little narrow window in. We're going to go ahead and close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please, folks, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I will see you next time.